Good morning to everybody, and welcome to this presentation about Wg7, the new web catalog from Oxitec, which is based on pure automation. Why? Wg7 has been developed after having analyzed the needs of both manufacturers and designers regarding the management of product data. And how product data passes from the manufacturers to the designers and how these data are used by both manufacturers and designers. So let's analyze the needs of the manufacturers. For example, manufacturers need frequent data updates. It's clear because we are in the world of LEDs. Data simplification, because the mass of data to be managed is improving, is increasing. Reduction of the time to market. The life of LEDs is shorter than the conventional sources. So it means that you have to update data more frequently. Increase of informative power. It's no more sufficient to manage only photometries. You have to manage also other set of data which are becoming more and more important now, but also in the future. But on the other hand, the needs of the lighting designer and planners are reduction of the time needed to verify product data, to automate, to make the process more automatic, and the task being carried out by the computer, because this should be done by a tool that can manage, for example, data update in an automatic way, and not let the designer lose time in searching data, in searching updates through different websites, through different tools available, for example, through the internet. We think that Wg7 is the answer. It's the answer because it is fulfilling at the end all the needs that we described both for manufacturers and for the designers in the market. Let's analyze in detail the needs of the manufacturers. Frequent data updates. So we live now in a world where the luminaires are no more based on conventional sources. So in this case, passing to the LEDs, we face a new reality, which is that LEDs are changing with a time, with a period, much shorter than the one for conventional lamps. I can tell you the story of a floodlight over here in Italy that was designed in 1972 and it was removed from the catalog of this manufacturer. It was based on a lamp, high discharge lamp, 2000 watts, and it was removed from the catalog of these manufacturers only 5 years ago. So it's roughly a time of 40 years, which is no more the time and the period faced using LEDs. So you need to update data in a more frequently way than before. Data simplification. We are facing, Wg7 features powerful tools allowing to update product data automatically, frequently, and quickly. It means that, for example, for the manufacturers, we have developed some tools through which you can update your web catalog in, let's say, half a day. So in a very short time. So you develop the update and then you publish the update to the internet and it will be automatically available all over the world for all the people that can visualize the information through the web catalog. Data simplification. Data simplification means that we have to organize the information in a way so that the process can be managed in a very simple way. What does it mean? Let's take an example. Right now, we know that we manage photometries through, for example, IS files or through ULM files. And this is the part about the performance of the luminary related to the photometry. But more and more now we have to manage spectra because, for example, the information included that the spectrum are used for human-centric lighting. For example, the melanopic over photopic ratio about HCl. And many more needs are coming. But now, right now, the information about the spectrum are managed separately from the ones of the photometry. And so this is a complex process to manage. So the idea we had was to develop for performance data a tool, which is the OXL file, which is an XML-based file, through which we can pack a huge set of information that can be later on managed in a very simple way by our systems. So the information that we can manage through the OXL file can include general and technical data of the product, images. So let's consider that now, whenever you use a ULM.file or an IS file in M63, you do not have any chance to manage the image. But when you have a file, you would like to recognize immediately which product is part of. So it's, from our point of view, extremely necessary to manage also the images, and they should be packed at the file. Photometry and spectrometry, flux plus power in function of current curve. This is another big issue. What we are facing now is that more and more manufacturers are creating huge set of files, including the currents at different values. For example, the same luminaire has a file for 350 milliamps, then there is another file for 400, 450, and so on. So the number of files available through the internet is booming, is coming to a level that it is very difficult to manage from the point of view of the manufacturer, but also from the point of view of the designer. Because let's think about the designer that has to download a package. Usually it is a zip file, and through this zip file they have 200, 300 luminaires. They have to spend time in analyzing the different information, because the current is written at the description of the file. It is not possible to save it at the file, because it was not thought at that time when, for example, ULM.file was introduced in 1990. So it's more and more difficult to work, and it's through the OXL we can find a way also to manage flux and power in function of current curves. Table of the tools and uncertainties. So now we are using files through which it is not defined which are the uncertainties of the measurement, which are the tools, the instruments that we used at the laboratory. And then the table of standards. We know that, for example, for LED luminaires, we can use the LM79 standard, but on the other hand, in Europe, we use a standard which is mostly for the goniophotometer, pretty different from what is said at LM79. And also, when you perform a test using S025, the CIE document, you should define that measurement was done through such a standard. So all this information can be packed at the OXL file, and so you have a single tool through which you manage the information. Another big point is that once we start with an OXL file, then we have the great advantage that we focused our tools, our features, the ones available through the web catalog, using a single file. So we created the so-called PV Web, PhotoView Web, which is a server based on our photometric and spectrometric data manager. Through PhotoView Web, it is no more needed to upload the huge set of files that the manufacturers are now uploading to the internet. For example, LDT files, IS files, but also in case, like you can see here, polar diagrams, data sheets, because the usage of the OXL files allows us, through PV Web, to convert in function of the request. So a designer is coming to this page and it is requesting to download the LDT file. The file is created on the fly at that time. So it is not needed to upload all the huge set of files to the internet, but only the OXL file. So through the OXL file, we can convert to any available document, to any available graphic, to any available data interchange file, but also to create data sheets into 25 languages. Reduction of time to market. We know that the life of an LED is roughly around a year, an average of a year time. So in this case, it is extremely necessary to come to the market in the shortest time possible. And this is a question of die or live for your product. Because if you delay the transfer of information to the market, let's say a month, it means that you have a month over 12. It is not the same, for example, in the past, when you had products lasting for 40 years, 30 years, 20 years. So if you delay the preparation of the information for the market, let's say 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, who cares? But now, for LEDs, it is extremely necessary that you come to the market in the shortest time possible. And the usage of the OXL files and PhotoView Web allows the manufacturers to come to the market in the shortest way possible. Why? For the simple reason that you don't have to spend time in creating thousands of files. Takes time. So, for example, I had a chance to discuss a few days ago with a manufacturer from Italy about the issue of the LDT files that they have to create, and the IS file also. And they said that in order to produce 200,000 photometries, they usually spend a month and a half to create them automatically because they have an automatic process. But then they have to upload them to the internet, splitting the files into different zip folders. It takes time. A month and a half, it is a huge amount of time. So if you consider that your LED luminary is lasting for a year or a year and a half, you can understand how losing 2 months, it is extremely significant. Increase of informative power. Web Catalog 7 makes available a larger number of files, graphs, tables generated automatically through PhotoView Web 7. This is something that we already introduced in the previous point. Let's say you can see here, this is an example of a product from an Italian manufacturer, and they uploaded the OXL files, including also Spectrum. So from the system, it is automatically possible in a very short time to produce, to generate, for example, like you can see over here, to generate the ISTM30 graphs. And all the set of graphs or the TM30 standard, they are created in less than 40 milliseconds. It means that whenever I ask to develop these graphs, the system is taking the Excel file, uploading to the PhotoView web, and the PhotoView web is giving back the information, giving back the files in 40 milliseconds. It means that you do not even see the delay in producing the files. And this is extremely important. This is extremely important because it's not a question of losing seconds waiting for the files to be ready. Let's come now to the lighting designers. So it's clear, reduction of time needed to verify product data. More and more designers and planners that we get in touch with during the past months, they all say the same. They all say that whenever they manage a product, a lighting product, they have to manage the photometries, but whenever they start the process today, then once they finish their project, they come back maybe to the same project after 6 months, 8 months, because the client is willing to study the project, is willing to apply some changes, and so it takes time. When the project comes back, the designer is never sure that data that were used at the first step are still valid, are still updated. So he needs to go back to the websites, he needs to check, to download, to compare. Sometimes the manufacturers are changing the codes, sometimes the manufacturers are changing the location where the files are available. So the designers are telling us, listen, we are losing a lot of time in searching the files, in updating the files. What we developed is something that, for example, through this simple feature, it is possible to do that automatically. It means that whenever the designer selects a set of products and downloads them to the local database of Lightstar 4D, then he can, using this quick search feature, he can automatically ask to the web catalog if new data were published. And so if new data are available, and in case they are available, the system is automatically downloaded those files and update then the catalog. This process is completely done in a few seconds and can be done also through different web catalogs. It means that there is a huge amount of time that is saved by the designer in running this process. And the main thing is that it is done by the computer. It is done by the tool that we use every day. And this computer is something that was developed in order to be automatic. And so we can use it in this way. We believe that this may bring us to a perfect balance for a simpler and faster world. It means that I think that you could understand that really in applying some minor changing, in applying some minor features, we can achieve a great goal in data management.